Thank you everyone for joining us on YouTube. Today we are painting a butterfly on Masa paper, and we're going to be using the smooth side. This is the one I did last night. It's a monarch butterfly on milkweed, and I drew it out with a Sakura ink pen, permanent black ink pen, and then I painted in the black part. I painted the outside and the part inside. But today I'm going to paint a blue butterfly on some orange sunflowers. The background, though, is going to not be that detailed. It's just going to be a bunch of orange. So the way that I'm going to do it is I'm going to take this. This is my Masa paper here. And it has two sides. It has a smooth side and it has a rough side. And I've often painted on the rough side, but today I'm going to paint on the smooth side. So what I'm going to do is take this water-soluble graphite, and I'm going to trace my butterfly. And then after I get it traced, I'm going to take my micron pen, my pigment micron. This one happens to be a 0.01 archival ink and permanent. So when it gets wet, it doesn't bleed, and I'm going to trace it. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I traced it, and then I used my pen, and I went over it like that. I didn't do any of the flowers. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray this. Just spray it with water. I'm not making it sopping wet. And then I'm spraying the other side, both sides. And now I'm going to crumple it up very gently. I don't want any tears. This paper is very delicate. Little crumples everywhere. Check it out. Gently unfolding it. It's pretty good crumpling, really, probably. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get white glue. This is diluted with a little water. And I've drawn a square. Where my paper goes, because my mat fits on this. I'm going to take a 3/4 inch brush and smooth the glue out. And I'm going to wash my paintbrush because I don't want to ruin my good brush. Now, take my butterfly, set it on there, make sure it's covering all the lines. Start patting it down. A little glue on my fingers. While my paper's all damp, I'm going to paint the background. So I didn't blow dry this. It's still damp, very delicate. I'm going to take a little bit of raw sienna. I often like to start with raw sienna when I'm going to be adding a lot of colors over the top because it's a heavy pigment and it settles into the paper and the other colors will kind of float on it a little bit. This swallowtail butterfly has black. So if it goes over, the yellow kind of runs into the paper a little bit, it's not going to matter because it's going to get covered up. Now this paper is delicate. So when I put my paint on, I really just need to, even just the brush strokes need to be sort of smooth and gentle. Painting with this raw sienna makes me miss it. This was the yellow that I used probably the first 15 years that I painted. Okay, there's raw sienna. Now I'm going to go to Hands of Yellow Medium. Just mixed it right into that puddle. Didn't wash my brush out. I'm just going to just a tiny bit of water and more paint. So a tiny bit means that I dipped my brush in about a quarter of the way. That was all the water that I added. I'm not trying to paint flower shapes at all. I'm just painting a beautiful background. The paper is going to suggest everything to me. Paper is going to do all the work. I'm going to add some orange. And the way that I'm going to make orange is I'm going to add permanent rose into my Hands of Yellow Medium. I have all this orange. I'm going to add it right on top of the yellow. That's maybe a little too orange. I don't care though, because orange and blue are complementary colors, and so they always look good together. If I put a little orange on this side of the wing, I have to put a little orange on that side of the wing. If there's orange on this side of the swallowtail, it has to be on that side of the swallowtail. But it doesn't have to be everywhere. I'm going to add phthalo yellow green, because the centers of these flowers are phthalo yellow green. Really, in the photograph, there's 3 big yellow centers. One is right behind this swallowtail part. And there's one up here. And then I'll just put one in here. So there's 3 different distances apart. Again, I just have to be very careful that I'm barely touching the paper. Sort of another one there, I better make 5. Now I'm going to go to burnt sienna. What I'm really going to do with the burnt sienna is just kind of darken my corners, because I don't want my eye going out these corners. The corners need to be darker. I'm kind of going around the edges, but I'm making them different shapes. Let's, the dark color actually kind of goes around the green, the phthalo yellow green. Oh,
Mary Kay, what was the dark colors?
burnt sienna. I like how this looks, but I feel like it's just a little too, I don't know, spotty, really, more than anything. And as it dries, it's going to soften and it's going to fade, because watercolor always fades as it dries. But I'm going to just try a little bit of spray on it and see if I can get it to diffuse a little bit. So this is kind of a chunky spray bottle. That's the same top as a Windex spray bottle. Whereas this one here is a very fine sprayer. That's better. That's, yeah, I think I like that better. I'm just gonna blot here where it sort of, oh, that's pretty. Let's see if I've gotten all my corners. This is the mat it's gonna go into. I think I need to just watch this corner right here. I don't want my eye to go to any white corners. No white corners. No white corners allowed. There can be white spots in this though. Okay. Now I'm gonna blow dry it. I might have been muted when I put that little bit of burnt sienna in here, because there's a little bit of shadow underneath where the reflected light can't reach. So now what I'm going to do is the blue and the black. So this is dry. I'm going to use manganese blue as my blue. Just going to paint it on there. That's not quite the same shade. Is it? No. Let's see. I'm going to mix what with that? Antwerp? Yeah, I'll use this. I don't know if it's perfect. Here's where I don't want it to go, the blue to go into the orange. Looks kind of dull. I might put some iridescent paint over the top of this later. All right. Maybe I need to have more of the white paper showing through. Whoa. Oh, that's better. Well, it kind of like, though, I'm lifting this a little bit because I think it looks better lighter. But one thing I'm noticing is that the crinkles in the paper make it look like butterfly scales. So all you grandmas, this would be a great grandkid painting. Oh, it looks neat. I like it. My blue leaked a little bit, but I think it's okay. It's kind of like the reflected light a little bit down here. That's fine because that's some of the blue in there. Okay, I like that. And then I see, even though the center or the body of the butterfly is mostly black, I do see some blue in it. So I'll put this over it, on it, and then when I paint the black. I'm sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. This is Payne's Gray that I'm using with my pencil brush. I'm going to try to leave some little flecks of light in this black. And this line here is, well, very thin, but it does have a little bit of shadow on either side. So I will get to that with just with a dirty brush. So 1/3 of a brush full of water into my paint makes it just this beautiful black. And again, I'm just trying to leave a couple of highlights. So if something is black, the sun hits it, there's little glints. It's like a glint in an eye. We want to leave a few glints in this wing. So I finished up with this black part of the wings, and now I have 2 things left. One is the body, and one is just these little lines, what I'm going to do with those. And it's the same thing. I just want to have paint that shows a little bit of the blue through it. So if I take my brush and get it wet, so I have more water in it, and I go over this blue, I'll have kind of a gray with the blue showing. And dip my brush into the water and dry it off. Well, just dab it. So now I have very little paint in my brush, and I'm going to go over these lines. And they're going to make just like a little shadow. And out here, there's a little shadow. I don't want to put any little shadows. That's how I'm going to do it. We're going to stop with that. And I'm just going to add more black to the body. I do like how the body is showing little speckles of blue right now. So I definitely do not want to cover those up. So again, 1/3 of a brush of water and into the Payne's Gray. And I'm just darkening the head, leaving those blues, and darkening a little bit of the body. It's in segments, really. And then the very tip of the body is dark, I think. That's it. And I'm going to leave the antenna just with the pen marks. Not do anything else to them. There it is. Really stands out. That's beautiful. That butterfly is flying.
Flying butterfly.
Your blues are beautiful. What blues did you use? Little French?
I used a little French, yeah. And the other was cerulean and manganese. One of them, I never could tell which one's which. So one of those.
With the French, it looks good. Yeah, and I like the background like that.
Put them out on.
Oh, the blue is beautiful.
That is pretty.
What blue did you use?
I used French and the cerulean that you said.
Okay, well, that's the color to use. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very striking.
Oh, that's pretty.
Oh, that's nice.
You did the dragonfly.
Pretty.
Beautiful. I love how you can see through the wings.
Yeah.
You've done that 2 or 3 times, Penny, and you have iridescent on it. You're
Yes.
holding it at an angle so we can see the iridescence on the wings.
Mhm.
Pretty.
Oh, that's really pretty.
I
Very
love the
pretty.
soft grasses and the speckles that you have, the throwing, the splattering. That is nice. And those legs, they look pretty scary. I don't want it to land on me. It's beautiful though.
I used pearl iridescent is the one that's really shiny.
Uh-huh.
And I put some gold iridescent on the wings, and the blue is a blue iridescent, but the blue iridescent doesn't really shimmer like that pearl.
Yeah.
So,
It shimmers over black.
oh,
So try it again where you put the black down and then put the blue iridescent over it. You'll see what it does.
Ooh.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Wow.
I
Pretty.
love a zinnia. Look how you
Really
get the little
pretty.
white
I just do
feathers.
like the drawing.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
it's like rainbow. It's a pride. That's a pride picture.
Yes, it's like one.
I like your background.
Yeah.
how did you get it so soft?
I put a lot of water and paint and just let it go.
Mm,
Yeah.
very nice.
Really nice, Chris.